This is the 2023 GMC Terrain. It's the SLE trim level, and for those of you who always say, hey Tom, show us the lower trim levels, we don't always want to see the highest trim level, well, this video is for you. The exterior color on this model is marine metallic, and I do apologize that it is a little dirty today. Here's the issue there. It just came off the truck. I literally got it before it was even checked into the dealership, and they don't have a car wash at the dealership, so I couldn't really do much about that. So just don't worry about it. It's not that big of a deal, hopefully, to most people. A jet black interior here. The interior is gonna look really good and clean here. It is a cloth interior, but here's the thing. You have upscale interior materials. You also have an interface as far as the infotainment screen goes that is intuitive and easy to use. So let's take a look and see exactly what you get for that sticker price of $33,565. I borrowed this model from my friends at Morgan Buick GMC here in Shreveport, Louisiana. If you want to know more about this exact model and maybe even come in and buy it, check out the link down in the description of the video and tell whoever you talk to that Tom from Vehicle Visionary sent you. Taking a look here at the front end, kind of a nice look on the headlights. Gonna have kind of that typical GMC look here as far as it really looking like a C with the daytime running lights there. You're gonna see that they are LED, have LED headlights as well. And it's hard to see the blinker turned on right there, I believe. It looks like it to me, at least, on the screen, but it is on. This is where that's located, kind of bright and sunny out here today. But you're gonna have a combination of the bodywork working its way up here towards where the headlight housing is. Kind of gives it a nice breakup of sorts. If you like chrome, there is a decent amount here. You've got the chrome grille, the black grille on the inside there, or the chrome surround, I should say, around the black grille. A nice large GMC logo, and more chrome down here around this area. Now, nothing here is functional, so you don't have any functional air curtains or anything like that. Not necessarily a big deal, but you will find the lower spoiler here on the front end. That is good that it's not gloss black. That always helps to make it more durable when driving down the road, because there's gonna be a lot of debris coming up, rocks and different things like that hitting the front end. That's good. It's gonna resist scratches and chips and all that kind of stuff. Also the lower grille right there. And a decent looking hood. Kind of looks, well, like what you would expect it to with the Terrain, I guess you could say. It's a little bit squared off. It works its way up. It has some character lines here, unfortunately kind of hidden by the dirt a little bit. Working its way towards the center. A little bit of a bulge, but it has the surround around the bulge to kind of accent that area. Well, just something so you can see what is there. Kind of just allows you to look back and say, well, it looks fairly rugged, even though it's not necessarily meant to be a rugged off-roading vehicle. The body-colored mirror caps right here, we're gonna have more of that flat black. It's really plastic right here on the bottom, but again, that is good and durable. Manually folding, but power adjustable, as you can see there. And then we're gonna take a quick look here at the remote. You can see everything that's here. Lock, unlock, remote start. You can open and close the rear lift gate or tailgate back there. And then here on the body colored door handles, you'll see the buttons right here. That's called passive entry. What that means is when you have the remote on your person, you can walk up and lock or unlock the interior by pushing the button right there. But here's a good thing for you parents out there with little kids. You're gonna probably come to the back seat first. You can lock or unlock all four doors from the rear door back here. That's good. I'm gonna have more of that chrome accent on the top portion of the windows right here. And have the flat black around these other areas. It really looks good because you don't have any gloss black here to break things up. So it's very consistent throughout. Also, the roof rails up here on the top. Now on this SLE trim level, you will find that there is not a sunroof, but here it is, the SLE logo right there. Also, the body colored shark fin antenna, the same thing here with a rear roof spoiler that isn't just here for looks, it is functional. So what happens is air, when you're driving down the road, is going to filter itself or flow over the rear window. That's going to keep that clean while you're moving. But of course, when it's dirty, whether you've let it sit overnight and it got dirty or whatever the case is, you do have that rear window wiper there. And we also have the LED tail lights. A pretty clean look here on the rear with the GMC logo. A little bit of chrome accent here above where the license plate is going to go, the Terrain logo right there, and no exhaust tips coming out of the back here, so it does leave it with a fairly clean look to finish things off. And what about tire and wheel size? We're going to have 225 on the width, a 65 series sidewall, not too big, not too small. That should contribute to a better ride quality. We'll see how it is when we get out on the road. Surrounding the 17-inch wheels. Here under the hood, the lone engine option available for the Terrain. It is the 1.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. It makes 175 horsepower, and the torque numbers come in at 203. It's mated to a 9-speed automatic transmission. On the SLE and SLT trim levels, front-wheel drive is standard, but all-wheel drive is available. On the AT4 and Denali, you will find that all-wheel drive is standard. And let's talk about those all-important MPGs. What exactly are they? 24 city, 29 highway, 26 combined, and 3.8 gallons of gas. Not too bad is what GMC says you should use for every 100 miles you drive your Terrain. If you want to tow with your Terrain, it will tow up to 1,500 pounds. And even though this is the lowest trim level at SLE, you do have a power tailgate. And what does that reveal? It reveals the cargo area that ranges between 29.6 cubic feet up to 63.3 cubic feet. And you can either use the release right here on the seat to put the seat down, or you can even use what I just pulled on over here, this release right here. Both will work that way. So there's a couple of different options on that to maximize cargo capacity. And you have a little bit of storage space here under the rear floor. You also have underneath this area where the storage is, the spare tire. I know that's important to a lot of you. A lot of you are saying no tire repair kits, please. That's a good thing because you don't have to worry about that here. And you can close the tailgate with that button right there. Now, if for some reason you come back here and your tailgate doesn't open, let me show you what the first thing is you should do. Most likely, this is where the problem is going to be. It's going to be right here. You have the button right here, or the knob, I should say, I guess, or controller, whatever you want to call it, where you can either set it to 3/4 or to max for opening, or it could be set to off, which means it will not open. And in case you're curious, let me push that button and show you what it looks like when it opens all the way compared to 3/4, which is where we were when I opened it just a few seconds ago. And we'll take our first look into the interior through the passenger side rear door. We're going to have the armrest right here. This area does have somewhat of a soft touch material, but when you put your arm up there, it feels even softer, so that's good. Up here, a little bit harder plastic. I don't know. It's still not too uncomfortable. I'm not gonna be riding in the back seat if it's me because I would be driving, so not too concerned about that. But you will find the door bin right here, the lower door bin. Good place for a good sized bottle. Quite a bit of space up here with the upper door bin. Good place for hiding those snacks away. And then you'll find the rear seat pocket here on the passenger side, but it looks like we only have one. We don't have one on the driver's side, but that's okay. It is what it is. I don't know how many people actually use that, if the kids are using that or whoever's in the back seat, but there is one back here. But you do have the dual air conditioning vents on the rear of the center console and 2 USB ports. I really think that car makers need to be putting 3 in back here because, well, you have room for 3 people back here, 3 passengers, but there is the ability to buy an adapter that would turn one of these into 2, and then you would have 3. And one more thing I wanted to cover concerning the back seat. If somebody is the middle seat passenger, guess what? They don't have to worry about that annoying transmission tunnel protruding up through the floor because the floor is pretty much completely flat. So that's actually a good thing. And looking in through the passenger side front door, pretty much the same thing that we saw in the rear. The upper and the lower door bins, a little bit more space here as far as back into this area goes. Going to have the contrast stitching that we did see on the rear doors as well. Now you do have a manually adjustable passenger seat here on this particular trim level. It is adjustable, and so that is a good thing. We'll hop inside here, take a look around. Going to have the trim right here, kind of a wood grain look and a little bit of space here. Be perfect for a cell phone, maybe something like that. There's even a little bit of space down here on the side of the console and you'll find that on both sides there's actually a pass-through. So let me hop back out and I'll show you that from this angle. Couldn't see that earlier, but there you go. You can see there is a pass-through right there that goes all the way through from one side to the other. So hopping back in, take a quick look at what we have here as far as a little bit of storage here, more connectivity, USB. You're gonna have the 12-volt power outlet. So there is a 12-volt power outlet in the vehicle. Got the cup holders here with the chrome surround, and then quite a few different features here. You do have hill start assist, you have your driving modes, you can do quite a few things here, use quite a few nice features, and the multitasking lid, as I like to call it, for the center console, because it's the lid and it's an armrest. How much space is in there? Well, it depends on what you do. You have the removable tray here, probably the slimmest I have ever seen. That is a slim tray. But you can take that out, and there is a light right here to help illuminate things at night. So a pretty decent amount of space. Well, let's see what the driver can find when we hop into the driver's seat. And by the way, I know you like to know about the sun visor. So I have the vanity mirror right here. Let's see if I can get that position. Hi, everybody. Here I am. I'm behind the camera, but I am here. And you have those kind of slow to come on lights right there, kind of a touch of elegance of sorts. I don't know, maybe not, but anyway, it works. I'll say it either way. And I like the fact that you can move this visor back pretty far. There's a little bit of space remaining right here, but most likely that's not going to be a problem for most people unless they're sitting way back. And even though you only have 175 horsepower under the hood, if you do drive spiritedly or just take a corner too fast, there is the oh crap handle here for your passengers to grab onto. All right, taking a look in through the driver's side door. Basically the same thing we saw on the passenger side. I already showed you the control here for the rear tailgate, control all four windows, and the side view mirrors. Those power side view mirrors you can lock and unlock. Now you won't find the child safety locks here, at least not the activation for them. That is going to be back here on the rear doors. So in case you're curious about that, here's how this works. You can see the diagram with the lock and the arrow pointing this way. So when the button right here or the switch is in this back position towards the back of the door, they're not active. Excuse my sounding like a teenager there. They're not active. Let me not sound like I'm going through puberty. When this button is forward, sorry, I kind of cracked myself up there. Sorry about that. When the button is forward or the switch is forward, they are then active, and you can know if the child safety locks are on or off. With the way my voice was cracking, you might have to turn those on if I'm riding in the back seat. I don't know. And we'll take a look in through the driver's side door. Here are the controls, or the control for your headlight functionality. You've got the power parking brake right here. You can use that to release the hood. And we'll hop inside and take a look around. Let me go here. You do have push button start, so all you can do is put your foot on the brake, push that, and the vehicle comes to life. And so what we have here is a pretty nice looking instrument cluster as far as what you have. Not too much, not too little going on here. I think it's a nice balance. You can obviously go through a lot of information here depending on what you want to see. I'll show you some of what is here. And all I'm doing is just working my way through with the arrows on the steering wheel right there. So quite a bit there. Tell you what's going on with the vehicle. Very easy to use. Here's your cruise control settings. And then right here, this thing is called a blinker lever, in case you're wondering about that. Watch what happens when I push on it. You'll see those arrows that start blinking on the dashboard up there. Well, guess what? That corresponds to the blinkers on the outside of your vehicle, so it lets people around you know what your intentions are and what you're doing. Kind of a novel idea for a lot of drivers, at least here in Northwest Louisiana, because a lot of people don't own vehicles that have this feature. At least I don't think they do. But they do own vehicles that have front and rear window wipers. Well, if they're SUVs, right? Cars don't have rear window wipers typically, unless it's a station wagon. But anyway, I think you get the idea. There's your control for your wipers. And the infotainment screen here, as you can see, you can pair your phone. You have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which basically, if you're curious about what that means, it means that the screen will mirror your phone. Pretty easy to use, pretty easy to figure out. Everything's simple to use here. And you do have the push button shifter down here. kind of an interesting setup. Park, reverse, neutral, drive. You can see what all is there. In fact, I will go into reverse. And on the SLE trim level, we're going to find just one camera view, but it is there. It is nice and clear. And you can turn your trajectory lines on and off depending on what you want to do with that. So we'll go back into park, and as you can see, controls here for the radio. You can hit the home button to go home right there on the infotainment screen. There is the control for controlling volume and turning things on and off. You can turn the auto stop start feature off right here. There's your hazard lights button, and you have dual zone climate control here, so that's a good benefit. That's going to help out in a few different ways. You can sync those together if you so desire to do so. And ultimately, that's what we have here as far as the interior goes. But what is it like to drive this model? Well, let's get on the road and put that 175 horsepower through its paces. All right, we just got one of those great Shreveport drivers running that light. I think you had a good glimpse of that through the video as far as where I have the camera mounted. Anyway, glad I didn't just fly out there and get hit by that person. But anyway, let's get out on the road and see what happens with our test drive. What is it like when you drop the hammer? Well, it actually gets up to speed in a decently good manner. I'm kind of surprised, but you know, not a bad deal. A lot of people in this day and age are going to say 175 horsepower is too low. For some people, that's going to be just right, especially people who remember the 1980s and even the 70s when a lot of vehicles were making less horsepower than this and had much larger motors. We're talking about V8s, not 4-cylinders. So I don't think it's a real issue here as far as that goes, but that's my personal opinion just based on driving. But the thing I like about this particular vehicle is that it is fun to drive, it's nimble, it has a great tight turning radius, so that means that you're going to be able to get around in it very easily. Let me make my turn here. You can see this is absolutely no problem. I mean, I've got room to spare right there with no problem. And I apologize that I have you in the windshield today because, well, there's no sunroof to stick the suction cup to and put you up there for a different view, but it is what it is. Sometimes we just have to work with the things we have to work with. This Terrain handles well. The ride quality seems to be good. But the thing I like to caution you against is just taking the word of those of us on YouTube who review these vehicles, because for me, that's my opinion. I'm used to driving a vehicle that doesn't ride quite like this does. It has a little bit more of a rigid ride to it as far as my daily driver goes. So to me, it rides really well. Someone else might hop in that gets out of maybe a Cadillac XT5 or something like that and say, nah, I don't think it rides quite as smoothly as you said it did, Tom. That's why it's so important to just drive them for yourself, and I'll give you the best information I can. A couple of things I do want to touch on real quick that I didn't talk about earlier. While the passenger seat is manually adjustable, the driver's seat is power adjustable. So you have that. You also have a tilt and telescopically adjustable steering wheel. Obviously, I probably don't have to tell you on this particular trim level that's going to be manually adjustable. It's not power adjustable, but it is there. A really simplistic infotainment system to learn if you've never had anything like this. I know this isn't the latest and the greatest from GMC, but it's still very simple to use. Pretty minimalistic, I would say. So that's a good thing for people who are maybe getting into a vehicle like this for the very first time and saying, man, I'm just kind of afraid of all that new technology and all those bells and whistles and everything like that. Don't worry about it. Easy to use, easy to learn, no problem at all. Overall, an enjoyable vehicle to drive. I think you do get quite a bit for the price compared to what you actually pay for. You're getting quite a few features and functionality here. And even though the horsepower may not be as high as it could be, I always think every vehicle needs more horsepower. I don't care what it is. But the good news about that, if you're looking for something that's going to sip gas, this is definitely a vehicle you need to consider for an SUV. And that is what you get for a sticker price of $33,565 with the 2023 GMC Terrain SLE. Tell me what you think down in the comments. Based on the way a lot of vehicles are priced in this day and age, I'd say that's not too bad for everything that you get for that particular price. Gotta say a special thanks to my friends at Morgan Buick GMC for loaning me this Terrain for the day. And a special thanks to all of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn about other vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I will see you there.